for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Yes, we are on day 3 of John Without His Luggage, and there's no end in sight as the United Airlines has officially lost his luggage, and they have no idea where it's at. So stay tuned, as we'll be able to have hopefully some great updates from some people that really care about my luggage and getting it back to me. So either way, it's a Wednesday. It's game day. Arkansas and Texas tonight. We're going to talk a lot about that. It's a Remember Whensday presented by Fayetteville Fly Co. So we're going to remember a few things and also have some fun with that. We'll get into some Saracen props. We'll also get to an SEC update. But fellas, midweek, Wednesday, hump day, game day, all in one. How we feeling today?
Pretty good. I hate this 8 o'clock business though. I'm not going to lie, man. Like I'm not trying to be the guy that's just up here complaining at the beginning of the show, but my God, man, they played at 9 o'clock where we were at on Saturday. The Saturday before that, it was a 7:30. They've had other 8 p.m. games, like especially on the road. Cause at home, you're like, all right, let's fill the arena a little bit, let people get off work, whatever. Nobody wants to be up for an 8 o'clock game against Texas, man. I'm ready for it to get here. I'm excited for some hoops.
I'm excited for some hoops too, man. I'm really starting to get really anxious about tonight's game just because I feel like there's some real stakes here, and that's what you want. I mean, there was a worry there for a while where we were like, man, this basketball season is going to get away from Arkansas, and we're going to be covering all these games that just mean nothing. It's just nice to be in a game that really matters again. Obviously, we were in that Saturday. Curtis, I didn't think you were going to make it back before the countdown. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was starting to sweat it out. I don't know what we all kind of do that at different points where, like, as the countdown playing, we go run and turn a light off or close a door or do something. I was really worried you weren't going to make it back.
I successfully flipped over an entire load of laundry in that 1 minute countdown. Listen, wife's out of town. I got to do the chores. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah,
hey, listen,
I was worried too.
We've developed some skills in that because when that minute countdown starts, like I have taken a full piss and gotten back just in time. I mean, it's not ideal for some reason. We just wait till the very last minute, literally, before the show goes on. But that's okay. We're here, though. We're here. We're in front of you. We're on the camera, and we're going to get to all of your thoughts and opinions. Again, no phone lines until I get my equipment back. Thanks, United Airlines. Going to make sure you hear about it every single time. But we will get to your chats. So if you want in on the conversation, just get into the chats. But you got Arkansas, Texas tonight, which I know, listen, we've talked about the game itself and the matchups and everything, but it is kind of interesting because last night, which we'll also talk about, a particular team that Arkansas played on Saturday lost another game there to Ole Miss. Kentucky Wildcats got beat pretty good by the Ole Miss Rebels down there in Oxford. So, has nothing to do with Arkansas in this particular case, but I think that the main question that at least I have for this team tonight, will this be an emotional letdown for the Hogs? We see it all the time in sports. You got a team that flies high coming off a big win, and look at that, man, they are ready to roll. Maybe this will get going. But then they have that big letdown where maybe they just got too up for the game. Maybe they didn't, they lost their focus a little bit, whatever it is. So I guess always the question is how do you avoid stuff like that? Is there a way to avoid it? Is there a way as a coach that you can help the team avoid it? Just how can the Hogs make sure that does not happen to them tonight against Texas, which is a crucial game for them if they want to make the NCAA tournament?
I don't know if there's really a formula for that, man, because nobody that had a letdown and an obvious letdown spot was not aware that it was an obvious letdown spot. You know what I mean? Like they know about this. And I was listening to Cal on his radio show on Monday, and then Kenny Payne talked about it a little bit too yesterday about how they realize that they need to kind of bottle this up and be able to carry it over. And so they had team meetings. Cal called everybody into the office. He said he talked to the walk-ons, and he was like, what did you guys see in the game? Like, what stood out to you? And then he talked to the players and was like, what got you into that headspace? Like, what did we do differently? What worked from a preparation standpoint? What did you do on game day? And so just trying to channel all of that as much as you can, but you really don't know until you got out there. And so we'll see, man. I have no doubt that they're going to be excited to play and ready to play, but there's just something about getting out there and all of a sudden the juices just aren't flowing, man, the way that they were the previous game. Kentucky was a prime example. Those dudes never left Lexington. I mean, that was rough right out of the gates. And then eventually you kind of wake up and snap out of it, or the switch flips or whatever, and they look pretty good. It was too darn late. So we'll know, I think, within like the first 5 minutes of the game what this is going to look like for Arkansas.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, I mean, I think maybe that we've talked about it so much because if we think it's an obvious letdown spot, you would imagine that coaching staff has obviously had this one circled as like, hey guys, let's just keep it together for a few more days here. I actually do think that being on the road helps a little bit. It's a little bit harder to get comfortable when you're not sleeping in your own bed, when you're still out on the road to the team. And I also do just think from a bonding, gelling standpoint for a team, those road trips are always so important, especially when you have back-to-back ones. And one that went as successfully as this past one did. And so I think that helps. And again, I think for this Arkansas team, you're not good enough to be not handling success well. You're not good enough. You're not in a good enough position to be like, we're just going to kick our feet up and just enjoy the win and bask in all of our glory. And I think Kentucky getting their ass whipped last night really should help wake this team up a little bit, where it's like, hey, you saw what happened. Obviously, Kentucky had one less day to kind of get prepared, but I think that should maybe open their eyes a little bit. And again, I think that desperation, it's really hard to keep that, especially coming off of a loss. But I think for this Arkansas team and for where they stand nationally, there's still so much work to be done. It would be really disappointing if they got all fat and happy after one win and it was like, all right, now we're just right back to not caring again. So this is a big challenge. It's a big litmus test to kind of what we should expect for this team. Because again, we said a lot of people are going to dismiss the Kentucky game. If Arkansas loses tonight, everyone will immediately go to that was one game. You got up for that one. That was the Cal game. It was kind of a fluke. You go out there and stink tonight. It really adds some weight to that theory. And so Arkansas's up against a lot. I feel like this is a sneaky, huge swing game for the rest of the season.
Well, also, according to Bet Saracen, seeing Texas open up as a 6.5-point favorite, what do y'all think that's about right, though, for tonight, if you were going to guess it?
No, I don't. I'm not sold on Texas at all when they play legitimate competition. They're good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think this is going to be a back and forth where they usually give the home team 3 or something. I was really expecting that to open at maybe 4.5, but that just tells you Vegas ain't sold on what Arkansas did after going over there and beating Kentucky, man. But we'll see. It's an important game for them too, because they're on the right side of the bubble right now. Texas is, but they're not like safe. You know what I'm saying? They're not locked. As bad as Arkansas needs to win this game, Texas needs to not lose to Arkansas, because that would be a quad 2, on their resume there. For the Hogs, it's just about like, can you get this team, like personal stuff aside that went back to going back to Rupp, can you get this team to want to fight and claw their way back into this NCAA tournament picture as much as they wanted to stick it to Kentucky, and I don't know what the answer to that is. For me, it'd be easy. Hell yeah, I want to play as much as I can. I want to get there. But when you don't have that personal, emotional attachment like that, it's just a little bit easier said than done. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers for for these two teams, there's not a ton of separation between Arkansas and Texas in a lot of very key categories. Whether it's 3-point shooting, rebounding, they're both near the bottom. Turnovers, they both are near the bottom in a good way, where neither of these teams turn the ball over. But there's not a ton that would separate. So if you put this game on a neutral floor, obviously the win-loss records, there is some separation. But if you just went through a numbers perspective of what these teams are capable of throughout the season, I would agree. It's it should be a pretty small spread. Obviously, being on the road is going to give you a little bit of a bump, but I was a little surprised to see that number at 6.5. I think we all were kind of on the same page with 4. But yeah, the desperation is interesting. As a coach, how much do you really want to talk about tournament resume and SOS and SOR and BPI, throwing all these things at them? I'm sure you don't want to just have a bulletin board where you're like, all right, well, our net's got to get here or whatever. But I think that stuff's relevant. I mean, these kids aren't stupid. They all want to play in the NCAA tournament, and they all want to know what they need to do. And so I think for this coaching staff, that message just needs to be, guys, we're on the wrong side of the bubble. We're now in the bubble of the bubble. But until further notice, y'all need to still have a lot of desperation. We still have so much work to do. Let's dominate this week. And then maybe we can see about laying an egg. Maybe we can lay an egg here or there, but you have to build yourself some breathing room. And Arkansas just hasn't done that yet, despite being a lot closer than they were the other day.
See, Cal's not he's not afraid to throw out the quad 1 phrase quite a bit. He did it after the game against Kentucky. He's like, what do you got to do? You got to get as many quad 1 wins as possible. This would be one. And then, you mentioned being on the bubble of the bubble. Speaking of bubble teams inside and out, last night, USC, Vandy, Oklahoma, Baylor, BYU, Indiana, Iowa, all lost. And those are all teams that you're in this conversation with right now. So, you could help yourself quite a bit if you get a dub tonight.
Yeah, that's definitely helpful too. And I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew, about the way that it's approached, because I know that it's the cliche of we got to take this game one game at a time, and we got to just look ahead to our next opponent, which is true, and that's what you need to do. But I think as a coach, especially at this point in time, like, you don't want to, at the beginning of the year, be like, all right, guys, we got to win 20 some odd games here. And no, but like, just do it to where, guys, as you said, we're on the wrong side of the bubble. Here's our layout. Here's how we need to get there. Here's our plan in place. We got to win every game that we can, of course. But I think that for the big picture goal, it's like, we got to get to the tournament. And these are the types of games like tonight against Texas that can really help us get there. And might be, and again, I'm not saying Texas is a bad team, but considering the rest of the games on your schedule, it's one of the more winnable games, or at least a team that's a little bit more winnable than, say, the Bamas or the Auburns or anything like that. So this is a time where you can just focus on that and take care of business, because, as we mentioned yesterday, if you beat Texas tonight, you're already on the right track, and you got a big game with Bama coming up, and you got that little confidence going. And I mean, it just needs to happen. It needs to happen. And you don't need, I'm just going to be really pissed off, guys, and I know we all will, if they have another game like they did against like Missouri, like just on the road, just a big clunker, and they're down by 18 points in the first half. And it's just, let's just hope that doesn't happen. Let's just hope that they come out motivated, and because then it'll almost be pointed back to, oh, that was Arkansas's one game against Kentucky. That's the only one they cared about. It's the only one they cared to get ready for. I don't want to deal with that crap either. I just want to, see the team play well, see the team build off what they did, and see at least a good basketball game down there in Austin. But yeah, tip off at 8 p.m. and it's going to be on, I believe, is it ESPN? ESPN2, I believe. You should check that too. Yeah, the Deuce. So you're going to be able to watch it there, and of course, Pod at the Palace post game will be live right afterwards, and hopefully pretty quickly after 10 o'clock, where there's not a lot of fouls and a lot of reviews and stoppages in play, which, let's be honest,
better.
Yeah, that's it. We know that's not going to be happening for us. But we'll get to a few of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Shout out to our guy Nick for a super chat. Appreciate you. He says, love you guys and my people in the chat. Life's been busy, but for the good, beat the hell out of Texas. So
heck yeah. Love that.
Appreciate
Scott
that.
Fountain's still here, by the way. Nick, I don't know. You've been off the grid a little bit, but I just want to let you know.
Yeah, well, but we'll give you an update, though, if that ever changes, though. We'll be the first to let you know. Also, Dabbing Rhino just says, at this point, with how Nelly is playing, is Jonas Adu the biggest flop out of the top 10 ranked portal transfers?
I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you measure that or whatever, but there are a lot of guys in the top transfer rankings from over the summer who aren't performing or who have been injured or whatever. So he would definitely be included on that list. Hasn't given you what you need and is currently not doing that either. So whether he's healthy or not, you are not getting what you expected out of Jonas. And that's impacted. I mean, that's a big part of the reason why Arkansas is where it is right now. And Cal says he's 100%. I guess we should take his word for it, even though I'm not sure I'm going to do that. And we'll see what he looks like against Texas tonight.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Like I don't think the fan base should be dog cussing any players. Like I don't think they should have the smear campaign like they've had for Nelly. But the whole time that everyone was yelling at Nelly and calling to castrate him and all these different things, I kind of wondered. I'm like, dude, they didn't realize that he's not even the worst transfer Arkansas's had. And so now that he had a good game, people are kind of coming to that realization. But that's kind of been the case for a few weeks now, I would say, because Nelly hasn't been what he's expected to be, but he's at least been playing consistent minutes and giving Arkansas an occasional spark off the bench, making a three here and there or whatever. But he's really since December hasn't even been Arkansas's worst transfer.
Also, Matthew says, I know we talked about it yesterday. I just want to address it again. He says, Tremont Mark will have some motivation too. Can't be lazy or slow going into Austin tonight. I mean, I don't think that Tremont Mark would have any extra motivation other than just to beat a team. Because again, it's a completely different coaching staff and roster and everything from what he had last year. Unless he just really took issue with the name and the brand of the Razorbacks. I don't know if that'll be any extra motivation than what he needs. But but then again, if he has like the game of his season tonight, then maybe there was a little bit extra to it, or maybe that's what people will try to connect it with. But I don't think it'll play a factor.
He chose to leave. He wasn't run out of town. His coach, his teammates, everybody that was a part of that season last year outside of, TB is out of here. I think it'll be, neat for him or whatever. I'm sure like he would love to beat his old team or whatever, but I really don't think it's like a, something that he's like taped on his mirror to read himself some quotes every morning or something. I don't see that necessarily.
And I mean, and kind of like I've said, it would be in Arkansas's best interest if Tremont Mark just woke up this morning and was like, I'm going to stick it to these cats. I'm going to go out of my way. Because again, that's not like Kentucky doesn't like, sorry, not Kentucky. Texas, it's not like he's been like their go-to guy. So if Tremont Mark all of a sudden starts taking 12, 15 shots, it would throw everything out of whack for Texas. So I think if you're Arkansas, you should almost kind of encourage that.
I just remember the time, since I remember Whensday, I remember when Andrew really hated Tremont Mark, or maybe not hated, but it's a strong word, but just
I think it's a fair word.
Yeah. Listen, whatever the general public believes, I just find myself on the other side. And so, there's a lot of people who believe he was like, an awesome player for Arkansas. And he had a lot of great moments, obviously the Texas A&M game, but I would argue Arkansas was worse when he was on the floor.
Well,
I think every team he's been on has been worse when he's on the floor.
I think that there's a name for that. I think it's called a contrarian, Andrew. I think that's what people would say. But no, I get it, and that's why it made me laugh because again, remember when Arkansas and Tremont Mark hit that game winner against A&M last season. It was just really funny because like me and you were back at the office or whatever, just watching. It was like, oh my gosh, of all people, Tremont Mark to hit that game winning shot. That was wild stuff. So, but yeah, it'll be a good game tonight. In fact, let's go ahead and jump into your question of the day presented by Alumni Hall, which we're going to be there Friday. Again, folks, we're going to be at Alumni Hall live with Inside Arkansas live at noon. And that's going to be happening at 3417 North College Avenue. You can also shop them online at insidearkansas.com/Alumni Hall for all the great Razorback apparel, even the little Beat Texas shirt that I got going on. If you want to rock that for when they come to town too, they got that too, as well as baseball gear and everything. So check it out again, Alumni Hall, your ultimate Razorback shopping experience. I'm just curious because we saw that Arkansas and Kentucky missed out on playing each other twice, and the only teams that Arkansas is playing twice this year is LSU as well as Missouri and then Texas. So I'm just curious if it's going to stay this way of those three teams being it. Like, do you want them to play every single year twice, or should they be a team in basketball? I'm referring to. Or should be a team that's just like every other team and it's a rotating type of deal?
I like playing them twice. I'm good with that one. For me, I think about like you need one of the bums of the league to play twice, just to help yourself out a little bit. And I would say that they kind of have that with LSU, but you already lost to them. So, but and then you probably want one of those natural rivals like that, and then something cool. I'd love to see him get Kentucky twice every year or whatever, or Bama twice, even though that would be tough on the strength of schedule. But I'm all for him playing Texas a couple times. It was a huge rivalry. I was looking at Hogs stats, and they've played like over 150 times or whatever. That's probably more than they played any of these SEC teams. So yeah, why not? And at least this one wouldn't be forced on you. It's a natural rivalry. It was before they came back to the SEC. So I'm all for it, man. I think they should do it. I like it better than when they were playing A&M twice every year.
Yeah. I'm going to try my best not to sound like the young guy who's like, why the hell, like the 12-year-old who doesn't hate Texas at all because he doesn't remember any matchups with Texas. Obviously, I remember some, and I remember as a kid being taught to hate Texas. But I think tonight's going to be an interesting test case for like how much heat this rivalry really has, because it's not like Arkansas and Texas have played a ton in basketball over the last, however many 15, 20 years. We all kind of remember that game way back in the day when the 2-14 Arkansas team beat Texas when they were top 10 and stuff like that. And there's definitely some familiarity there with the fan bases, of course. But I wonder how much heat Arkansas and basketball as a Arkansas and Texas as a basketball rivalry still have at this point. And so I'm cool with them playing twice every year. But I will say, when I first saw the question, my immediate reaction was like, sure, but it doesn't really feel like a basketball rivalry that has all that like serious animosity. And frankly, if I'm being honest, I have no idea how much Texas fans even really care about basketball.
Yeah, no, that was where I was coming from too, because you're going to have multiple, at least in the current format, unless they change it to move into 20 games in an SEC schedule or whatever. You're going to have what it's set up to be right now. You're going to have 3 different teams that each team in the conference plays in a home and home. But I think everyone's obvious one. If you had one, if you could only have a choice of like, this is your one, I think everybody in Arkansas would want Kentucky just because of the Cal angle. But even before then, there's this old school, more recent type of rivalry between the two. And they're both programs that are historical, probably the most historical programs in college basketball here in the SEC. I think that would be everyone's first choice. But I also get it too, because, and I gave credit to Greg Sankey when this happened. He was saying about Arkansas and Texas, he's like, they're going to play each other in every sport, and in football, like they are going to play each other. Like he understood that. So I think it would be just weird to have it to where you play Arkansas plays Texas and it's big in football and it's big in baseball and it's big in these other ones. But then in men's basketball, it's like, well, not really. We'll just make that one change. It's like, you got to be all or nothing on Texas and Arkansas playing each other. So I think it's okay. And I don't think it's going to be a bad deal. But like you said, Andrew, there's not really any, built up animosity or like some things that are like, oh man, you got to get after them and you want to beat Texas so bad that it's not there. Cause basketball, I think they're still flying high on football and everything too right now. And they're a pretty big baseball school. I know that they've had success with that. So, but men's basketball may not be to that point just yet. But we'll find out tonight and see. I'd be curious to see what the crowd looks like in the Moody Center. Cause I know you guys have been there, but if as a team with Texas, who's decent, is it going to be a raucous crowd or is it going to be pretty average?
It's a small arena. So
yeah, what is it? 10,000 people, I think.
Yeah. It's cool though, because they can, like downsize it or make it larger for like when it's a concert venue. It's just crazy. It's like a transformer in there. It's kind of nuts, but, yeah, it's pretty small as a basketball arena. So I imagine it will be pretty full and then just naturally loud. But they've got a pretty good student section over there and stuff. It'll be a good atmosphere, but it's not going to be like what they saw Saturday.
Imagine if Arkansas had hired Chris Beard as they attempted and wanted to do. Maybe that would have added a little bit of something to it. And then I really would be like, hell yeah, let's really embrace this whole thing. Because the Kentucky rivalry, like you said, it's obviously heated up now, but Arkansas always was getting up for those games. And so that rivalry is always going to be awesome. It would have been kind of cool if Arkansas had hired Chris Beard, one, because they would be very good at basketball and have a better record than they have now. But also there would be a lot of, that would kind of reignite that Arkansas-Texas rivalry in time for them to join the SEC.
Yeah, I think that, if it was Beard, it'd have a little bit more to it, but yeah, I'm with you. I started thinking about your comment yesterday, Andrew, as far as they're still having an interim coach, and it's like it does kind of feel like it's still the interim coach. It felt like, and I mean no disrespect to him, but it just felt like it was the lazy hire of like, we don't care enough about going out and getting an established coach. We just kind of care about what's the easiest to deal with. So let's just hire this assistant coach that he was there and roll with it and see what happens.
Well, thank God it got him Ron Holland.
To an Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Hey, he didn't earn the job.
Listen, Frank Martin led him to a Final Four at South Carolina and did no favors for him. Okay.
Man.
So, just saying.
Hey, but dude, also, if Arkansas had hired Chris Beard, you know how much I'd be running the interim coach bit? It would be unreal. There'd be like Texas fans in here be like, no, he's full-time. He signed his contract on whatever.
Have we even seen a Texas basketball fan? Like, I feel like we've had fan bases represented in our chat of all walks of life. And I've seen Texas football when Arkansas and Texas play each other in football, but for basketball, I haven't seen squat. Like, not a thing.
One thing I will say about Rodney Terry, though, who is, by the way, for those that are angry, he is the actual full-time men's basketball coach at University of Texas. Sounds like Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
Where he's sort of raspy all the time.
Oh, yeah. He's got some big-time Doc energy.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit, since it is a Remember Wednesday. Let's do it with our great sponsorship from Fayetteville Fly Co. It's a Remember Wednesday. Go to fflyco.com and you'll be able to purchase and get 20% off of every purchase using the code HOGSBY20. I know that a lot of you are big fishermen and outdoorsmen. They have a lot of different apparel, whether it's shirts or hats. You can also check out, and they got a great special going on right now too, where they're going to be giving away a $100 gift card. If you just go to their Instagram page at Fayetteville Fly Co. They're going to be doing that. All you got to do is just comment on their latest post about the giveaway and tag somebody in it, and you'll have a chance to win not only a gift card, but a free gift package as well. And it's in collaboration with Inside Arkansas. So be sure to check that out if you want to get a $100 gift card to Fayetteville Fly Co. Again, Instagram, Fayetteville Fly Co. And you can enter in by commenting on their post and also tagging a friend in there as well. But since it's a Remember Wednesday, guys, I want to bring this up because we talk about Arkansas in the games that they've had against other opponents and the history and everything like that. But I wanted to bring this up when you were looking at the series, Curtis, because I did the same thing. It's almost like a remember win, but I didn't remember win until I saw it. I do not remember anything about Arkansas beating Texas in 2016. I was remember,
just looking at that,
dude. And then the only reason it did pop up and I remembered it was because I remember I used it for an Almost Saturday picture of like Dusty Hannas and all them doing the horns down picture. But I'm like, I don't remember anything about that game. It was played in Houston, Texas. Arkansas won 77-74. I don't remember anything about it. Not a thing.
They were playing at the Toyota Center. Why did that happen?
I don't remember, but I do. I now remember where I was at. I was at like my family Christmas gathering because it was like the week before Christmas. Yep. And I remember not being able to watch the game. And so I was keeping up with it on my phone and I was kind of annoyed, but shout out to Dusty, who apparently scored 15 points in that game. And Daryl Macon scored, what was it?
23.
He scored 23 on 4 of 12 shooting, but he made 14 of 14 free throws. And I believe he made a ton of clutch free throws down the stretch to win that game.
Well, it was funny because they only won by 3. Arkansas did. And don't look at any other stat. There's only one stat you need to look at as the reason why Arkansas won. Arkansas hit 29 of 31 free throws in that game. 29 of 31 for 93.5%. The only free throws that were missed, Dusty Hannas. Come on, Dusty. He missed one. And Trey Thompson. Yeah, Trey Thompson, big Trey missed one. But Texas went 19 of 32 from the free throw line. So if you want to know why Arkansas won the game, that's why. But yeah, Macon had 23, Dusty Hannas had 15, Jalen Barford had 11 points in that. And that was also during the stretch where like Moses Kingsley was preseason SEC Player of the Year and was struggling. It was not very good, but yeah, crazy times back then too. Forgot that Dustin Thomas was on that team. Everything.
Was that Shaka Smart era Texas?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, they had Tevin Mack. That's the main player I remember on that team. He had 20 points in that game. So, yeah, that was I don't remember, but then I did remember when. Remember Whensday. So, but between that game and of course, I want to play this video. This is for the old heads out there for you watching. One of the most iconic and legendary Arkansas games against Texas. A lot of you remember it because Nolan Richardson, Hall of Fame coach back during the Southwest Conference days, walked off the court in protest because he felt like the call was egregious against Lee Mayberry in the flagrant foul, or I guess Todd Day in the flagrant foul. But I just wanted to play the clip, kind of the whole transition here of that moment. And it's pretty funny to see. Also, guys, you guys know who Cheryl Miller is, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The greatest women's basketball player ever.
She was on the call for this game. I don't know why. No offense, but it's just random. But anyways, here's the clip from Strolling with Nolan, as they referred to it as.
Long pass. Blanks will take it inside, and they got him on the foul. And it's an intentional foul.
Terrible foul.
Tried to put his arms around the man. That was it. And Nolan Richardson's walking off the court. Richardson is walking off the court, and Penders is screaming at the official about it. But Nolan can leave anytime he wants, I guess. As Blanks hits them both, and of course
that's
on
Coach
the
D right there.
Foul, that possession. 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals, and he misses it. 3-point game, 10 seconds to go. This is not over. Mayberry, the best field goal, 3-point shooter in the nation, hits it. Mayberry hits it. And time runs out, and we go to overtime in Austin.
Look at Mayberry coming down, a couple of leg kicks, the ball goes to
Come
the
here.
wrong. Fouling.
No
Surely he
contesting
shoots
shot.
two.
What are you doing?
He makes it for 3, and we go to overtime in Austin.
Oh,
Gotta
shooting
foul
shirt.
We'll be back for the 5-minute OT. Right? Intentional foul call against Lee Mayberry. He left the court. It goes to overtime. Sure, they had to go to the locker room and bring him back.
Well, you know, Raj, this doesn't make him or
Okay, shut up. So anyways, great moment there. A few things that stood out to me though, guys, from that. One, how nice is it that we don't have the rule where the clock keeps ticking after
Yeah.
'cause he hits the shot and the clock just keeps on ticking in that. So shout out to that. But also, it's why you always got to foul when you're up 3 in those situations. So very iconic and legendary moment. And Nolan Richardson, after the game, coined the phrase when asked, "Why did you leave the game?" He said, "Game was making me sick to my stomach," and he had to walk off. So great moment there by strolling with Nolan.
By the way, I know I'm the young guy here, but how about John being like, I don't know why Cheryl Miller was on the call. Cheryl Miller was like a broadcasting legend back in the day. I mean, she called a lot of big games back in the day.
I guess I didn't. That's like the only Arkansas game I ever heard her call. That I think that's what it probably more was.
I think
but
she worked. Was that game on ABC?
yeah.
I think that was it because like there's really. I mean, back then I'm sure they did it more, but that was like the big game crew there.
Oh yeah. Well, Logan, our guy Logan Coker says, "I'm too young for this. Why did he walk off?" Because he did not agree with that intentional foul or flagrant foul, however you want to call it, that they called at the end of the game. And also, Nolan was kind of notorious for saying that there was a lot of corruption and calls that were made in Texas. Texas always got all the calls. And so he just wasn't going to take it anymore. Between that and the other game, it's a different game and era. But Nolan Richardson got ejected from the game once, and he went in and sat up in the stands with the fans. That was before that was they made a rule where eventually you had to say, hey, you can't be. No, he just literally walked up about 10 rows and was just up there in the stands hanging out. So legendary Nolan. Is there I feel like there's probably more, but is that any other Arkansas Texas games comes to mind?
No,
Remember when?
I'm not 80 years old. Like I remember the armed forces thing.
Yeah.
They blew it. And that was pretty disappointing that early in the year, just with that team with Gafford and Isaiah and Mason and those guys. But and then the 2-14 year.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I was looking at Hog stats at some of these games that happened. I was like, I don't even remember that game being played. I didn't know that they came to Fayetteville 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I didn't realize because they beat them the next year. Texas did, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I kind of wiped that one from my memory. I did not wipe the blowout in Austin that happened a few years after that. That one I remember because I remember watching it and being very sad.
Yeah. I guess it was the 08-09 season and then the 09-10 season. Because I didn't realize Texas was number 2 in the country at that point. Yeah. I do remember the game in 2011 when Arkansas lost in Austin by a final score 79-46.
Yeah.
And the reason I remember that game only is because that was the day of the Razorbacks in the Sugar Bowl. And nobody watched that Razorback basketball game.
That's probably why I don't remember it.
Exactly. And everyone, it was almost one of those things when everyone was depressed and disappointed after the Sugar Bowl, they kind of look at the scores like, oh, we played basketball today. But instead, oh, well, glad we didn't watch that because it was pretty awful.
There's only a few times where basketball and a bowl game have happened in the same day. And I feel like it's a double loss every time.
It never fails because you wake up thinking this could be the best day ever. It never is. It never is, man. Yeah. It's crazy.
I did. I wanted to just shout out
that. I was going to say, you guys give me the starting 5 for that game that you were just talking about, where they went and got 30 piece at Texas.
I know. Rodney Clark.
Rodney Clark, yes.
I'm going to say. Let's see. I'm going to throw in a Delvon Johnson.
Good, Delvon Johnson, yes.
Okay. I'm going to throw in a Julissa Nobles.
No,
came off the bench.
Off the bench, yeah.
Was it the era of Ricky Scott?
No, Ricky Scott.
Boy, this is what about what was the dude's name? That was he went to Eastern Michigan, transferred there. Glenn Bryant, was he one?
He played, but he came off the bench.
Dang.
John, one of these you're definitely going to get. He's an all-time obscure Hog name.
Marvell Waith.
Yes.
Marvell Waith, yes. So you got Clark, Delvon Johnson, Marvell Waith. There's 2 more. I'd be semi-surprised if you got them.
JUCO transfer for one of them, I believe.
JUCO transfer. Dang, this is tough. Is it a guard or like a forward?
Guard.
It's a guard.
I'll give you a hint. I'm a son of a gun generation blank. I've been married 10 years to the blank's daughter.
Yes, I know. Okay, well, the dude's going to drive me nuts now.
We're moving on.
Yes.
Just
Jamal,
we don't need
Jamal
to dedicate
Farmer.
too much time for Jamal
Farmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jeff Peterson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and it was crazy because Arkansas played like 13 guys in this game. The whole roster played. Those guys started, but like Farmer and Waith only played 10 minutes. And you had like Marcus Britt and Julius Nobles come off the bench and they play well over 20. So it was all over the place with that team. But yeah, the Rick Barnes Longhorns.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jalusis Nobles with 6 turnovers in 22 minutes off the bench.
The pre-Kardashian Tristan Thompson led Texas Longhorns.
Goodness gracious. Yeah,
Wow.
remember when Texas went through a stretch for like 8 years where they just kept producing NBA big men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like they weren't even that good all those years, but it was, or I guess they were pretty good in some of them. But like you had him, you had Jared Allen. They had another.
That Dexter Pittman was the one I remember that was pretty good. Like when
Pittman was good. I feel like there's like 3 or 4 that are like all still playing.
Yeah. And I remember Texas also used to have a stretch where it seemed like they had a guard that had initials as their, like, was it JJ Abrams? Not JJ Abrams. That was
DJ, they had DJ Augustine.
DJ Augustine.
Yeah.
And they had another, like a guy with DJ.
CJ Abrams, I think. Does that sound
Gotcha.
right?
It does. I just remember they always had those guys too. So anyways, yeah.
We're not getting out of this.
Mo Bamba.
I was about to say we're not getting out of this without mentioning Mo Bamba.
Yes, him too.
He's a legend, man.
Got to throw it in. More for his song that's named after him. But yes.
I love it.
Out for that. I can't believe you guys did not bring up, which I know is not a game that didn't count, but the exhibition game that you two were at when Arkansas played in the Moody Center.
John, there's a reason we didn't bring that up, man. Although, Andrew, remember when we were hanging out in the press conference room, the media room, waiting for the presser to start afterwards, and we saw Danielle Musselman as we were walking in there, just broken down in tears, and then we could hear Muss just going off on the team for like 20 straight minutes. I mean, he was saying some things I wouldn't repeat to my kids. And then as he was walking in, you just hear him teeing off on, I don't know if it was like Texas administration or their communications people or whatever it was, but he was freaking the hell out. And then he does the thing that he always does where then he just walks in and sits down. And he's like, all right, questions. But he was going nuts, bro.
He was standing right outside the door. And I remember him saying something like, my wife used to work at ESPN. This is effing BS, like just screaming at somebody. And again, I don't know who he was really directing his anger at, but I mean, someone yelled something in the crowd that made her cry. And so, it's one of those, you got to defend your lady whenever something like that happens.
I honestly don't know. What was the final score to that game? Like
90 something to 60 something.
So
does that sound right?
A lot
90
to
to 60. Yeah.
Oh, 90 to, okay.
Yeah.
A lot to a little. Well, and wasn't that also the game, remember when, that they were supposed to play it on the Longhorn Network, and then they at the last minute didn't.
Mm-hmm. That's why we went.
Yeah.
Because we knew it would only be like a radio call or whatever. So
I'm sure everyone gave us credit for citing our stuff.
Yeah.
Totally sure that they did. But yeah, that was a time where they just opened the Moody Center, I think. Like it was like their first
game.
There.
Yeah, it was their first game in there. They'd had a Reba concert in there, and then this was the first basketball game.
That was the problem. You had a Reba concert, and then you went right into that. That's had to be a rough time. So, sheesh. Well, anyways, that was fun to think, and it's going to be good to have Arkansas and Texas playing each other once again, and going after it because all the coaches that somebody brought up, it's like Rick Barnes to me was there for so long that he was just the only coach I remember. But like in the video, little Tommy Penders was the one that no one beat in that one, and then Abe Lemons was another one there too. But I don't know. Texas goes through stretches, it seems like, where they were a really good program in basketball and then not so good. And then I guess I don't really know what to expect out of a Texas basketball program. Like, should I expect them to be really good or not? Because is their fan base strong? I don't know. It's a very weird program down there in Texas for basketball.
It does seem like, to the point, to get back to the interim coach bit, like you wonder what the ultimate ceiling is with Rodney Terry. I think he's doing a pretty good job there. Like that whole mess with Chris Beard, and then that team kind of rallied. They were obviously very good anyway, but that's a tough situation. They go to the Elite Eight, got back to the tournament last year, and they're figuring some things out this year. I think he's just solid. I think he's just a good head coach.
Look, that's kind of why I make the interim coach bid, is because he is a perfect, like, when you're in a weird situation, a weird transitional period. He literally was the interim coach, and then he did a good job. And so it made sense to just roll with him, especially because I know you'll remember this, Curtis, and I alluded to it earlier. A big part of why they kept him was because they had a huge recruiting class that they were hoping to bring in that included Ron Holland. It's kind of funny. But again, it really did make sense, especially because he was very involved with the recruiting of a lot of those guys. And, he's done fine, but I definitely don't think he's going to be there for a decade.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, if I don't remember Whensday, as I meant to bring this up too, but another game. Do you remember when Arkansas basketball played against Texas and Kevin Durant? And Kevin Durant had a decent game against them. Arkansas did lose only by 4. It was a good game, 80-76. Kevin Durant went for 28 points, 13 rebounds, as well as 1 assist, 1 block, and 1 steal and 1 turnover. So decent.
Kevin Durant, one of the final college basketball video game athletes. You had him, then Kevin Love, and then Blake Griffin, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
I always forget about Kevin Love, cover man.
Kevin Love. He was one of the guys that I always thought he looked like white trash when he was on the UCLA. But then he got in the NBA and he ended up being on covers of magazines and stuff. I was like, why did you look like that when you were younger?
Well, he was like 320 pounds when he was at UCLA, and then he kind of had to slim up and play the 4 and stretch his game out a little bit.
Yeah.
The most over talked about obscure thing in the world is the Kevin Love outlet pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, because that UCLA team had him and Russell Westbrook, and so literally it'd be like, made bucket, Russ, just take off full speed.
And also that Texas team had DJ Augustine and AJ Abrams. It was AJ Abrams.
AJ, okay.
So yeah, they had the ones, and also in that game, the manimal Charles Thomas had 19 points and 10 rebounds, so also a double for him. Patrick Beverly had 19 points, 7 assists. Get this: 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists for Patrick Beverly. That was the year he led the SEC. I think he led the SEC or second in the SEC in rebounding. Patrick Beverly did. And then Sonny Weems had 15 points. So
that was before he started doing bad things.
Yeah, that was before he used. I remember people considered him an offensive threat. And
that's what's funny when he got to the NBA and started playing defense like crazy. Like, even now that he was a bad defender at Arkansas, but it's like he was definitely more of like a scoring combo guard in college. And then of course he went to Slovakia and they were like, hey, you got to play good on the defensive end. That's how you'll get to the league. And he made it work.
Yep, absolutely. He made it work. All right, so let's keep it moving here, and let's get to your SEC update presented by Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com. Use promo code Hogs by 20 for 20% off your first purchase. A few games of note in the SEC last night. Auburn is still a wagon.
Goodness.
I mean, dude, they were toying with Oklahoma. What was it, the spread we talked about on Saracen yesterday? It was 17.5. Cover it. It's going to cover. Well, they did pretty easily. 98-70, Auburn beats Oklahoma. And, you should like, 28 points. That happens fairly often. And no, this was like they were just toying with them. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even fair as Auburn runs away with another victory. I just started seeing highlights of like their backups coming in late in the game, and it was just killing it. It's just incredible. It's truly incredible to see how good they are. So, yeah. I don't even know what to say else other than that. And here's what's crazy too. We talked about Arkansas hitting all those free throws. Oklahoma went 27 of 29 from the free throw line. They hit all but 2 free throws and they still lost by 30. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, those dudes are they're really good. Like when Dylan Cardwell is catching reverse alley-oop lobs from half court and stuff. I mean, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was one of the Oklahoma beat writers that I follow. I guess he was there, and he was almost laughing at just how absurdly good Auburn is. And he was just like, this is crazy because they're unserious. Like they're just not. It's not a serious program, and it's because they're like showboating and shooting crazy, ridiculous step back threes and behind the back passes and lobs off the backboard. It's like a freaking NBA All-Star game. And meanwhile, they're just beating the hell out of everyone. It's absurd, dude. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
That Oklahoma game is just never going to feel any worse.
No.
Like for Arkansas. I mean, you just literally look at it. If Arkansas misses the tournament, we're going to look back and be like, that was the game that sealed it.
Yep.
I think, if Arkansas just beaten Oklahoma the other day, they might be on the positive side of the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they'd be on a 3-game win streak right now. And, it would be a great position. But yeah, between that one and the LSU game on the road, it's just going to be one of those that haunt Arkansas, I feel like. But other game of note, Vanderbilt was actually beating Florida at halftime by a point.
Yeah.
But Florida ended up winning this one 86-75. So
Very
good fight by Vanderbilt.
Very important to point out that Walter Clayton didn't play.
Yeah.
For Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't need him, apparently. So they got the
Turns
job
out
done.
Kentucky's not the only team that in this country that has an injury.
Are you sure? Because that's all I've been hearing about.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's all. Speaking of Kentucky, they lost again last night, 98-84. And yeah, great performance by Ole Miss. You got to give it almost was so reminiscent of the Arkansas game because Ole Miss hit 13 threes in this game. They shot 55% from the field. They had one turnover. And that didn't happen, I think, until like in the midway point of the second half when they had their first turnover on top of 24 assists. I mean, I know it's one game and everything, but God, geez, dude, that is one of the more incredible stats you'll see against because I'll give Kentucky. I mean, they're a good team still. I still believe they're a quality basketball team. 24 assists to 1 turnover. I don't care who you are. That's impressive.
Yeah, that was good work. We talked about Kentucky coming off that Arkansas game and like what do they have left in the tank for that turnaround? Ole Miss had just played Auburn in that building. You know what I mean? So it's not like they had an easy game on Saturday either. And they played about as well as you can against Auburn in that game. They were dialed in, man. That was really impressive. Mark Pope has zero answers for what ails Kentucky defensively. Those dudes are struggling. And then it was a historic game. I don't know if this has ever happened before, but so the Amari Williams kid gets a triple-double, which, I mean, that's really impressive. And it's only like the 4th one they've had in program history or something, I think they said. So in the same game, you have the 4th triple-double in program history. You also have 2 players who record double-digit minutes and post a trillion in the stat line with Almanor and I don't remember who the other one was. So I don't want to – one of the freshmen. But
was it
Chandler or
Trent
Perry
Noah?
or
Trent Noah.
Noah, yeah, one of those guys. Exactly.
Trent Noah was the guy that after the game the other day, all the Kentucky fans were like, "Why did you not play Trent Noah?"
Yeah,
well,
2 trillions in a game where you also have a triple-double. That's crazy, man.
Well, and Curtis, going back to the defense, we talk obviously we've talked big picture about the Arkansas game, and if they lose tonight, it's going to be easy to look at the Kentucky game and be like, okay, that was a complete one-off. Specifically for Arkansas offensively, if Arkansas scores like 63 points tonight, and whether they win or lose, I think that's going to kind of open yourself up to some of that. Was that Saturday game just a complete outlier from an offensive standpoint for Arkansas? Which, I mean, everybody who plays Kentucky is going to have probably their best SEC performance offensively. So I think it's definitely one where if this Arkansas team was feeling like they are on top of the world and feeling like they got nothing to prove, Kentucky's performance last night should definitely kind of open them up of like, hey, this ain't gonna be smooth sailing the way it was on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I'm just pretty upset because this is gonna hurt Arkansas. Like they can't just have a bad win over Kentucky. Like Kentucky needs to do their job. They need to start winning to make that win be a little bit better. I mean, I'm gonna be pissed off at the end of the year when Arkansas is getting the NCAA tournament and on the bubble, and they're looking back and be like bad wins, and one of them is going to be Kentucky. Like this, you just can't have this. Come on, Pope, help out a little bit here. Help out. Yeah, of course I'm just trolling, but still, the 2 million thing is still my favorite thing. Like that is hard to do. I would ask the question for us three right here. If we played 13 minutes in a game, do you think that we could at least record a stat?
I
could foul somebody.
Well, yeah, probably not. I mean, like a rebound might accidentally fall into our hands, accidentally. But outside of that, I don't know.
A lot of
turn the
3-point
ball
shots. You just hang out by the 3-point line. You'll get a long bounce here and there.
Yeah, I could get a turnover. I could cause one. I could find a way to get on the stat sheet. But sheesh, that's impressive. Because it was the same thing with Kentucky too. Like they shot 50% from the field. I just couldn't imagine. Imagine this. I read this to you guys, and this was the stat line tonight against Texas. Arkansas shoots 50% from the field, 48% from three, including 10 threes. They only have 8 turnovers, and one of their players records a triple-double. That's a win. That's an automatic win in any other circumstance if you say that. Oh, and your best player or your best scorer goes for 24 points. It's just he scored 84. There's just no way, shape, or form that should happen.
Hey, did Arkansas low-key show the nation the blueprint of the let Amari Williams cook? Don't help off. Just don't let the kick out threes happen. Because Kentucky, obviously, you said they what were they 10 of 21 or something like that from three. Their 3-point attempts have been down here lately. Obviously, not having a point guard would contribute to that, but I think there's something to be said about the blueprint of Kentucky wants to shoot a bunch of threes, but if you just don't help off, it's really hard for them to get some of those open looks. They haven't been taking enough threes.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know. I also think that Kentucky fans because I was having some fun with them last night, they're just like, oh, you were acting all classy over there at Lexington, but now you're trolling. I was like, yeah, I am, because it's fun now. I can do that. I can talk a little trash. It's good. But man, what a bad performance by Kentucky. Mark Pope. What was it? I think Aaron Torres texted me. I think he maybe texted you too. Was it mid-major Mark or whatever they called him?
Yeah.
Might be doing that a little bit. I
mean, he pulled a Sam Pittman in the press conference last night, and he was just like, I don't have the answers. So.
Uh-oh.
All I'm saying is they better not let the pig win tonight.
Yeah.
You do not want the pig to win this game tonight. Yeah, everybody in the chat, y'all better be cheering vigorously for the Texas Longhorns.
Yes, it better be. Because I thought you were going to say he pulled a Sam Pittman because he just beat Tennessee, and that's his only quality win over the past few weeks. So, but yeah, they got to get it going, and I really don't care if they do. In fact, I hope they don't. But tonight, not only do you have Arkansas and Texas playing at 8 p.m., you also have just a game I could not care less about, LSU and Georgia, also at 8 o'clock. Pretty depressing to see LSU 1-7 in conference play with the one win being against Arkansas. However, a top 15 matchup at 6 o'clock, a little pre-game action, Missouri and Tennessee. Missouri being the surprise of the SEC, and Tennessee desperately needing to get back on the winning track. This game's going to be played in Knoxville. And according to Saracen, 8.5-point favorites for the Volunteers. I might be taking Missouri, guys. I might be taking Missouri in that one.
I'm not taking Missouri in that one.
You're not?
No.
I'm not going to take them, but I will say no respect for the Tigers from Vegas.
None whatsoever.
Is Ziegler playing? Do we know that?
He said he was. I saw that he's available.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's interesting. It's going to be very interesting if Tennessee stinks it up in this game.
Yeah, because that's going to drop them down to below 500 and quite a. I wonder how far they would drop. And not to say they would drop a whole way, but if they lose to Missouri, they're number 4 right now technically. That would be interesting to see if they lose again on Saturday, how far they drop. But still, you got those 3 games tonight and getting into action there too. So should be a good one. Good slate of games for the most part here. Let's see. Also, I wanted to bring up this picture because give a shout out to our guy Blaine, who took this. He just wanted us to know. He's like, hey, he's got his new setup in his house for watching us every single day, and I just wanted to share that picture. It's a pretty cool setup.
It's good work.
Yeah, he's got the TV with us. You need a bigger TV, my man, if you're going to see our faces. Just letting you know. But I'm giving you a hard time. No, it's an awesome setup. He's got the Gafford. I guess he's a big Gafford fan, a big Heston Kerstad fan.
Those are 2 good choices.
I'll say those are decent choices right there, man. I really like that setup. There was a Kentucky fan at KS Bar that was showing me his setup, and he had it where it looked like a Hall of Fame room. And I like this nice little shrine, man.
Yeah. Let's say I see Ryan Mount up there. I see KJ Jefferson, of course, in his jersey. Who's the baseball player at the top left, you think? I know it's kind of hard to check.
I cannot see. My eyesight is very bad.
Yeah. It looks like a pitcher of some
A
sort.
left-handed pitcher. That maybe is Hagen Smith.
Might be. Yeah, it might be. Well, I'm sure.
Left-handed pitcher throwing 3/4. That might be Hagen Smith.
it fits. It fits the examples there. So, but yeah, wanted to give him a shout out and appreciate him having us set up in that regard. All right, a few more of your chats. I'm sure they're great ones. Let's see. Vicky says though, give them a break, people. They won at Kentucky, and now you're saying and wondering if they have an emotional letdown. What does this have to? What does this have to do to get to some respect? They won at Rupp Arena, people.
Vicky started with what is wrong with you people?
What do you mean?
Vicky, they had the worst start in program history in the SEC. They lost 6 out of 7 games. For people to be skeptical about whether or not they can continue the type of play they had on Saturday, it's not negativity. It's just realism. And a lot of people were pissed off that we're talking about, can they avoid the letdown? That's not negativity either. It's a thing. I mean, we just saw it happen with Kentucky. That's always something to be considered after a huge win, an emotional win like that. And that's what really good teams are able to do, is able to avoid those situations. There's nothing wrong with talking about that. I don't know why people get so upset and look for any reason whatsoever to just call us negative. It's like the people that post the threads about us over on the Hog Sports message board. About those guys they're so negative about the team, bro. They were 1-6. I mean, what did you want us to say? You know what I mean? We're just talking about it.
And also, if we hype up tonight's game as this big challenge that Arkansas is going to have to overcome, then when they win, it makes it sweeter and it really means something. If we go in and we're like, dude, Arkansas is going to beat Texas no matter what. The season turned around Saturday. They're going to smoke the Longhorns tonight. Then if they win, it doesn't even feel that cool. But then if they lose, it becomes like a back-breaking loss. And then it's like, holy crap, now they're 2-7. That's kind of where we're at. And again, you say, what does this team have to do to get respect? The answer to that question is win one of these games this week, which is kind of what we said yesterday. If you go 1-1 this week, you're in a good enough spot. You're in striking distance of the NCAA tournament. Then you would still have work to do. But like you go 1-1 this week, that would get you a lot of respect. But I would love for Arkansas to be in a position where Saturday's game put them over the top and they no longer have a ton of pressure on them. The reality is they still have some digging to do. And so I think they're fully capable of doing that. I think they're the battle is a lot less uphill than it felt last week, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And so, yeah, I mean, we're going to continue to cover the team and we're going to continue to look ahead to the next game. I mean, it is what it is. But to answer her question, if Arkansas wins tonight, it takes a lot of pressure off of Saturday's game. Exactly. So we won't be going into Saturday being like, hey, they got to win. We'll feel a lot better. And we can at least exhale a little bit.
It'd be a house money game.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You get through tonight.
And also too, on top of that, it's like, what do they got to do to earn respect? I don't know. Not lose to Oklahoma at home. You know, like it's not like they've won 3 games in a row and they're like, what do they have to do to get your respect? Folks, literally a week and a half ago, they lost to a terrible Oklahoma team at home. And then 2 weeks prior to that, they lost to LSU, who I just mentioned is 1-7 in the SEC with their 1 win being against you. So it's not like they've been doing good things and we're just not giving them their flowers. They got to prove it themselves. If you say, we're being negative, the team's been negative. The team sucked. Yeah. It's just the way it is. It's how sports are. Anyways, I wanted to bring this up too because Angel said Kentucky fans hijacked John's luggage.
I think that's what we're dealing with.
I'm telling you right now, the guy that I had to check the bag gave me a weird vibe. He may have been part of the Big Blue Nation there.
Well, we kept lingering because he kept saying like, oh yeah, you guys are good to go or whatever. And we're like, will you put the tag on the bag, bro, before we walk away? But we sit there and watched him do it with your bag.
Yep.
And not ours. And so when I was walking away, I was like, man, I hope he tags this thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're the most recognizable face in the state of Arkansas and Kentucky, John. That much has been made clear to me in recent days. you might have got duped, brother.
I think I did. I think it did. And I can't wait for this to be a story comes out. And it's just like United has fired an employee so-and-so because they were apparently a Kentucky fan and they saw the tag say J Nabo on it. And they're like, oh, it has to be John Neighbors. Can't wait to throw this into the dumpster and let it never be seen again. So, but hey, because again, they have no idea where my luggage is at. They have zero clue. So until that, and I love this. I'm gonna just real quick rant about it. I'm DMing their customer service or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, call this number and all that." I was like, "Yeah, I called it," and they have no idea where it's at. They're like, "Well, you made the right decision. I have full confidence that you'll have your luggage back in no time." It's like, how do you feel confident when they don't even know where it's at? Because this happens all the time, and it always gets back to you. It's like, so you do this all the time. It's like you guys lose each other's luggage all the time. That's reassuring. So, but yeah, I like this one from Caleb. He says, remember when John had all of his stuff? Yeah, I do. Yeah. Thank you, Caleb.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. And
I don't think people realize how important some of the things in that bag are. Like it'd be one thing if it was just some clothes, like a few outfits or something, but
yeah. Literally the way I do the show and podcast is in there. So
I'll go ahead and say, if John, which John is Arkansas. He is Arkansas. If John does have his luggage back by Friday, when our Alumni Hall show happens, I will gritty at Alumni Hall for sure.
I think we can agree to that. Yeah,
I can agree to that because I know for a freaking fact that wasn't here by Friday.
Ain't no way.
ain't happening. Well, and that's you heard it here. You heard it here though. If I get my luggage by then. I love how I get the gritty for money and y'all get the gritty just as far as me getting luggage back. Like it doesn't seem like it.
Well, we also agreed. We basically were like, if a unicorn shows up at Bud Walton Arena on Saturday, we'll gritty.
Yeah. Now I really hope I get it back just so I can see you guys have to gritty through Alumni Hall and everyone's gonna be like, these guys.
Not for the $1,000 worth of equipment, but because of the gritty.
Yeah, because of that. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Also, one of your star that said Kentucky is down 2 star players.
Kentucky doesn't even have star players.
We calling Kirk Risa a star player?
Is that where we're at now? I was going to ask the same question. The mental gymnastics has gone to the point where Kirk Risa is a star.
He's played in 9 games and averaged 4 points in those 9 games in 17 minutes. Decent player at wherever the hell he was at, West Virginia, Arizona. He was okay, but
I like
calling him a star.
Yeah, I would have liked to have him on the Razorbacks because he's got some stuff to him, But I wouldn't even call Butler a star. I just think he's really, really important to what they do there,
Yeah.
Right.
Also, Scalise wants to know, Andrew, why isn't Arkansas in the new MLB the show?
Man,
dude, that's disappointing. So one, there's only like 4 or 5 teams that are in it. I just think if you're Arkansas, you should want to be in that 4 or 5 teams. If I had to go out on a limb, I would say that the University of Arkansas probably declined signing whatever, stuff, agreements they had to do or whatever. I don't know if it costs money or whatever, but it just seems like something the University of Arkansas, they really don't like people showing love to their program and, giving their program attention. They hate drawing attention to the programs that they have. So if I had to guess, I would say the U of A probably declined.
So what teams are in it? I haven't seen this.
East Carolina.
LSU, the UCLA's in there. I want to say Tennessee's in there.
See, that's even more disappointing. Tennessee and LSU and not Arkansas. Come on now.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and look, I maybe they didn't get the call, but I have a hard time believing they didn't get the call, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, if you're throwing an East Carolina in there, I mean, come on. How about that?
I don't know that for sure. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw him though. I think it was East Carolina.
I can't remember. I was so pissed about it. I'm out.
Or maybe Cal State Fullerton, Logan saying maybe that's what I was thinking. But
gotcha. Well, I mean that would kind of make sense. They're a historic program.
Yeah, they haven't been relevant a long time though. But yeah, okay. I mean, I'll let it slide. Hey, but shout out to our guy Hazelwood. Look at that super chat. Appreciate you, JT.
Ooh, does this mean we have to pick one?
Oh yeah, it says player prop on me tonight. I'm in an optimistic mood today. So what better way than to talk about player props?
Let's dive right into him, eh?
What a transition by JT Hazelwood. He already knew.
Player props and all that. Bet Saracen, number 1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas by far, not even close. So get to winning by downloading it on your iPhone or your Android. Go to betsaracen.com for that. Actually, guys, tonight there's a ton, and I mean a ton of different specials for Arkansas, not just for player props, but I really like the fact that they threw in, for instance, who scores the first 3-pointer for Arkansas.
I already had my mind made up on this, but yeah.
Okay. So you have your mind made up. So who is it? Who is it? Who would
Carter
you say?
Knox.
Carter Knox?
Yep.
Plus 400, if that's the case. So
he gets an open one in the first 5 minutes of like every game.
Always. It seems like he always does. Now, will he make it? I don't know. That's probably why he's plus 400, but he loves to chuck it, man, early in games.
Well, I'll throw this in too, because I know we'll have it, but might go through some actual player props. But the choices you have: Nelly Davis at plus 140, Big Z at plus 200, DJ Wagner plus 250, Carter Knox at plus 400, and Adu Thero plus 550. So if you think none of those guys come in and say if Trevin Brazil hits a 3, or I don't think Billy Richmond's going to hit a 3, but hey, you never know. But either way, if you think other than those guys, if you can choose other for plus 2,000, I may sprinkle a little bit on that just in case. I mean, what's plus 2,000?
John, I could see a world where Arkansas is in Texas and they do the thing where they miss their first 7 threes, and then you get into the bench, and Trevin knocks down a corner 3 or something.
Yep, I can see it. That's what I'm going to go for. For that. How about the first point scorer in general here at Bet Saracen? Adu Thero, DJ Wagner, Big Z, Carter Knox. Like, those are the starters. That's why they roll with those guys. But Adu Thero's got the biggest or the best odds of plus 185. So for him being the guy who scores the first points, DJ Wagner at plus 220.
Gotcha.
And then Big Z at plus 220 as well. So Z and Wagner tied. Carter Knox at plus 350. I was surprised Nelly Davis at plus 375 for being the first scorer.
Interesting.
So I mean, they're gonna run action for him on the first play of the game, I would imagine.
Yeah, and then they have other for plus 900. Don't bet other, folks. Don't do that. Like
that would be a rough turn of events for Arkansas.
Yeah. Because that means they're getting into probably 15-minute mark and no one scored.
That's like the 13:48 first bucket from Billy Richmond would stink.
Yeah. And the only way that could work out if it's like, well, Jonas is 100% now, so we're just going to randomly start him again over Z, and he gets a layup or something.
Which, by the way, Curtis, Jonas Adu, I saw a prop for him. Where was it? Oh, yeah. Over 15 minutes play, 15 minutes, 30 seconds. Over 2.5 personal fouls. One, I don't think he's played over 15 minutes in a minute. I can't imagine he does. That's minus 160. That's the heaviest fattest odds. Minus 160 for Jonas Adu to play 16 minutes and commit 3 fouls. Now he has committed 3 fouls a lot here lately, and he's done it in like 8 or 9 minutes. I don't think he's playing 16 minutes.
No.
The only way that happens is if like Z gets 2 fouls right out of the gates. He's got to set the rest of the first half or something. But otherwise, I'm not going minus 160. No chance. Oh no, that's crazy.
No chance.
And let me be clear. I just want to say, I want Jonas Adu to be good at basketball badly. Like I very much want that for Arkansas. It'd be beneficial to their cause, man. Something ain't been right the last couple of weeks here. I don't know what it is. And it's hard to bank on a turnaround until we see it, I think.
So, okay, one prop that really is sticking out to me. So neither of these teams are big TO teams, big turnover teams at all. Mm-hmm. I think they're both like in the bottom 50 nationally in turnovers. Arkansas Razorbacks over 6.5 steals. That alone is going to be tough. But then you also have opponent under 5.5 steals. So could Arkansas force some issues defensively and then not turn it over a ton, and specifically no steals? That's plus 300.
Yeah.
No, sorry, plus 350. I don't hate that one. I like that one way better than I like the Jonas one, and I'm getting way better odds on it.
Yeah, man. Also, there's a couple of them that I'm just not sure about too. Like there was one, let me see if I can find it here. Like, yeah. You got this one from like this. The combined deals with like John L. Davis at minus 125, over 35.5 minutes played, and over 2.5 fouls. I feel like that's a decent one. That's minus 125 if you want to go down that route. But yeah, there's also this one right here. So plus 135. So it's not like it's incredible odds, but plus 135. Arkansas and the opponent over 2.5 total combined technical fouls. So 3 technical fouls need to be called at plus 135. I'm not taking that.
You need the players double tech, like the offsetting techs, and then maybe one coach.
Yeah, you need what happened the other day against Kentucky, where you had 3 technicals in once. I just don't see that happening. And if that's the case, it means it's getting pretty chippy. So, I'm probably not sprinkling anything on that.
Y'all ready for my favorite one?
What's that?
Plus 210. Billy Richmond, over 2.5 field goals attempted, over 0.5 steals. He basically got that one in like 12 seconds the other night.
Mm-hmm.
But all he's got to do is just take 3 shots and record 1 steal. I think he could make it happen. He didn't have to make the shots. Just take them.
Yeah, I like that one. I could see that one. The one I liked was the Nelly Davis one at plus 275, over 15.5 points scored and over 4.5 rebounds. I can see that happening.
I like that one too.
So, for a few there. And also, there was one that had just these random like specials and everything, but first basket specials are still high if you think Arkansas is going to hit a free throw to start the game. 7 plus 750, 1750 if you want that. And then they have those as well as the quick bet specials. Like if you think that there's going to be under 1.5 3-pointers made in the first 3 minutes between both teams, it's minus 260. So, but if you think there's over 1.5, it's over 1.5 3-point field goals made in the first 3 minutes, it's plus 195. So again, you can check it out and see all the different specials they have, but they have a ton of them for tonight. So should be really fun to see. And I'm trying to think of any other specials that I liked in this one because of the players that we were talking about. I saw Trevin Brazil like over 5.5 field goals attempted. Don't do it. He's 2 for 3. It's 2 for 3. That's all he's going to do. Just 2 for 3. So, but yeah, check it out, folks. They got a ton of them at Bet Saracen. So download the app, go to betsaracen.com and check it out there. They even have Arkansas alumni and native specials. So for players that are in the NBA from the state of Arkansas. And of course, they have a thing called the Super Bowl coming up. I think they're going to have a few of those happen in there too. So yeah, be sure to check it out and appreciate it, JT, for the play that you give us or the having the prop plays for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Let's see. A few people in the chat here too. Paul just says, think about next time shipping your luggage to the hotel. Or how about they just not lose my freaking luggage? Like that's like, here's the thing. I appreciate
put it on the plane.
I appreciate advice that people give, and I'm not coming down to you, but I've had a nickel for every time. Be like, yeah, this is why you need to air tag your luggage. And I'm like, do you air tag your luggage? Oh, no. Like, why not? Because you're not supposed to lose the luggage, right? So that just, it's infuriating because everyone's just like, well, you need to start doing this. Or they just don't need to lose my luggage. How about that?
Yeah. People could just do their jobs. That would be the huge one. That would be the stuff they have in place for situations like this to just operate the way they're supposed to. I mean, me and Curtis did the same thing, and we got our luggage.
Yeah, exactly. And then you guys have air tags?
No.
Okay. No. Yeah. It's my whole thing. So, geez. Again, I'm just hoping and praying that the luggage gets here. It's a good suitcase, too. I like that suitcase. But still, it doesn't matter. Let's see. So, yeah, we went through the prop plays and everything here tonight. Let's see. In a few more of your chats, folks. Somebody said, I went to try to go find them at the start. They were talking about the baseball team and why. This is from Kingsley. He's saying, Andrew, minus East Carolina, all these teams in the show have been an NBA 2K in my career. Not sure if that means anything, but there might be something to it. So
I don't think 2K doesn't make the MLB The Show game. It's like a completely different. I forget the brand. Who is it that makes the show?
I thought it was 2K, but I could be wrong.
Is it? I know 2K used to have a baseball game where it'd be like Major League Baseball, 2K, whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know. I used to like that whenever 2K would make you like play 4 college games or whatever. You could go do like Midnight Madness at your school. That was always a good time. But it really does suck that Arkansas missed the boat here. Because I mean, not that it like is going to move the needle on brand exposure, but it's like that would be really cool for a lot of Hog fans to be able to play at Arkansas on the show. Like that would be sick.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. That would be cool. Also, Rebecca, thank you for this. This makes me feel so much better, Rebecca. She says, I once saw a suitcase on a runway and thought, man, that sucks for whoever lost their suitcase. Weird, it looks like mine. And it was. And took them 2 weeks to find it and send it back. So thank you for that. Making me feel so much better about it all. It better not be 2 weeks. If that's the case, as we've talked about, me and Curtis are flying first class to Auburn here in a couple of weeks. Like they better give us on a PJ and flying us out there if that's going to happen. If that's the way it's going to be, then that's going to be. I'll take it, however it needs to happen. But still, I'm going to trash on them until they get me my crap back. That's for sure. All right, I know we just got a few minutes here, guys. I wanted to play this video, but I forgot to put it up. What do y'all think of the media at the Super Bowl asking Kelsey and all these guys about the rigged calls and officiating and everything? Is that fair or foul? Since you guys are Big J journalists, is that fair or foul to be asking those questions at media day to players and whatnot?
I still don't know how those folks got in there. People who would ask, they would never get into a press conference at U of A. I'll tell you that right now.
Man, they'd be shot on sight if they even applied.
It's crazy. You can cover literally any event across the country. Like right now, I could apply for the Super Bowl, and I guarantee you we'd get credentialed. But like U of A versus Oakland, no chance. It is crazy. But no, I don't know if it's fair or foul. I just feel like it's like, what's the point? Unless you're just trying to make a funny video, where do you expect them to answer it and be like, yeah, the refs love us?
Yeah. I thought it was funny at first just because, but I am one of those, I guess, quote, Chiefs haters. And I don't hate the Chiefs because of anything other than just like everybody else, you get fatigue. I just get fatigue of hearing about them and seeing them and the Taylor Swift angles and all that. And I will admit, it is kind of funny seeing these compilation videos of all the calls that the Chiefs kind of get away with, comparatively speaking. So to see someone ask it about it, I at least applaud them for trying, but I don't think it needs to be something that needs to keep getting harped on. But I don't know. I don't think, because I think Travis Kelce's there's no conspiracy. Everybody gets together and talks about it. Maybe not, but it is kind of interesting how many calls the Chiefs get. That's just all I'm saying.
Did your opinion of this matter change after seeing Taylor Swift the other night at the Grammys? Looked pretty good.
Yeah, she did, but she's not wearing that at Chiefs games. So no. Yeah, maybe so, but because it was red, so she
didn't know if you viewed her in a different light. Because I kind of am starting to a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't mad, I wasn't upset, I wasn't telling her to get off the TV. So there's that. Yeah. But it is just funny too because the NFL Referees Association executive had to put out a statement dealing with this. That's how stupid it's gotten. It's it is insulting and preposterous. I love anybody that uses preposterous in a sentence. That to hear conspiracy theories to somehow 17 officiating crews consisted of 138 officials are colluding to assist one team. But
them putting out a statement is actually kind of a red flag, if you ask me. Why do you have to put? No, we're not cheating. We confirmed not cheating. I don't know. If you're the refs, I would just never acknowledge that.
Mm-mm.
Right.
I wouldn't. But I don't know. We talked about the rigging of stuff and how we're like, hey, it does happen, but I don't know. I want to believe that it's true, but I know it's not. I want to believe that there is I remember when it was Arkansas, Florida in that football game in 2009. And it was the reason they're doing it is because they want number one Bama to meet number one Florida in the SEC title game. They wanted both teams undefeated because it would make it for a better product. It's times like that. It's it makes too much sense because you don't see any terrible teams getting the benefit of bad calls. It just doesn't happen. So anyways, also, it's gonna bring up there too. Oh yeah, did you guys see Ed Cooley again in the news?
Yeah. What was it for? Oh, he was getting spicy about. What was he? He was ticked off about something.
He charged at a Xavier fan.
That's right.
After the buzzer, and he had to be held back by assistant coaches. He's always in the limelight in negative ways like that. But he was charging at him and stuff. I don't know. He's got a chip on his shoulder, it seems like.
I would say he lives with regret every single day, if I had to guess, about leaving Providence. I mean, it's just not gone well for him overall. And I feel like his public perception is at an all-time low. Whereas his last few years at Providence, I felt like his public perception was at an all-time high, and they whip his ass every time they play him. I just feel like nobody Ed Cooley was one of the good guys. He was a real fan favorite for a while there, and now it's he just consistently makes an ass out of himself.
Yeah.
And also he put out a statement. He said, in tonight's game, an opposing fan was verbally attacking one of my players. While nothing physical happened, I will always protect my players if they are threatened. I have nothing but respect for Xavier and his fan base. I want to congratulate them. I'm proud of our blah, 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 blah. So anyways, that's what he had to say.
On Saturday, an opposing fan was attacking Billy Richmond, and Cal yelled at Billy, so.
Yeah.
I will say Xavier's always in the mix with stuff like this. Their fans must just be lunatics because Mick Cronin tried to fight Xavier. He tried to fight Xavier player. What was that guy? He was like PJ something. They had that white guy that wore the long sleeves. Mick Cronin tried to fight him when he was at Cincinnati. It was like after the game, it was like, meet me in the hallway. We're fighting. So Xavier must just be one of those fan bases that is able to rile everyone up.
Yeah. Well, also too, Ed Cooley had this to say, and I just again think it's funny. He goes, "I think we're vastly underrated. Not a lot of teams are going to want to play us. We're not the old Georgetown, but I can't wait till this machine keeps growing and growing. That's why I'm so edgy right now. It's because we are underrated."
That's the quote that I saw from him. Which you're not the old Georgetown, but what are you exactly? I mean, they're just very mid. I think this year, but I don't know.
Pat Ewing, Georgetown. That's kind of where they're at.
Yeah.
Yep. And then people are going after Mike Woodson too. So, I mean, it's just a bit of tough stuff.
As they should, man. That dude's out of here.
Yeah, he needs to be. Because I didn't realize until I saw someone tweet out that he's been the head coach for 1,410 days, and it's been 709 days since they last beat a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whew.
They're struggling over there in Bloomington. Hey, can we talk real quick about the SEC quarterback ranking?
Yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Yeah,
I don't think it's like from Athlon or whatever. So like, whatever. It's a list. It's football. We haven't talked about football in a while, but SEC quarterbacks going into next year, they got Taylon Green 8th, right in the middle of the pack. Arch Manning 1, Garrett Nussmeier 2, Lenoris Sellers 3, DJ Lagway 4. Feels like it's hard to argue too much with any of those, but Diego Pavia at 5, Nico Iamaleava 6. John Mateer, that's the new Oklahoma quarterback that was at Washington State last year at 7. So those are the guys who are in front of Taylon Green, who's ahead of Marcel Reed and all the other guys.
How did Taylon get above Marcel Reed?
I don't know.
I mean, I know not like Marcel Reed's like that great, but like I think Marcel Reed's probably going to be a top 5 or 6 quarterback in the league if I had to guess.
Seems like he's got a higher ceiling, like at this young stage of his career or whatever, but yeah. I
saw the Bama starter because now Bama has a quarterback battle. They don't really know who their quarterback, but like their guy was like 12 or 13 on the list, like pretty far down there. There was another quarterback.
Jackson Arnold.
Jackson Arnold was like way down there. Yeah. So that's interesting. I'm sure it pissed off a lot of fan bases, but like Hog fans, since we have a group of them in the chat, like, do y'all feel like 8 is like crazy for Taylon Green? Because when I saw it, I was like, yeah, no, he's about the 8th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. What was he? He was like 14th or something. We had the whole debate about it before the season last year. So at least he's climbed his way up some, but I think you got to be kind of happy with that. If he winds up being the 8th best quarterback in the league, then,
Yeah. And which, by the way, give us credit because we did say last year, we were like, we think he's probably going to be smack dab in the middle. Like, that's kind of where we thought. And I feel like that's where he was. And I feel like that's where he should be projected. Like, I think Arkansas is going to be the one fan base who like has nothing to say.
Because where did he rank last year in like rankings? Was he in the middle? Because I mean, what was
10 range? If I had to guess.
Okay, because I know people are going to look at it in different angles, but his numbers wise, it was pretty high up there for an SEC quarterback. I think he was top 5 in yardage. And everything. So yeah, I don't know.
Yardage he was up there, but like he only threw like 12 touchdowns or something like that. Like so, I think like there's like other and his rushing yardage he was up there. I think if you add it all together, he was probably like the 8th best quarterback in the league last year.
Yeah, and none of them were to Andrew Armstrong. None of those touchdown passes. So yeah, it still blows my mind. But it's also too. It's like you just don't know who he's going to be throwing to, and the offense is going to be completely different. But I think it's fair. I don't have any issues with it. It's more you just got to prove yourself out there once you get there.
Yeah. Well, the tough thing about it is you pretty much know what you're going to get from Taylon. Like the guys he's ahead of are all wild cards. So like I feel like it'd be easier for like other quarterbacks to wind up being better or being higher up than it would be for Taylon to continue to climb. Because like the Austin Simmons kid at Ole Miss, You just haven't seen anything from him aside from that one drive or whatever against Georgia. And you know that offense that he's going to be in, he's probably going to be slinging it. Gunnar Stockton, like, is that dude actually going to be good at Georgia? Nobody really knows. Yeah, the kid at Bama, the Shapen is healthy over at Mississippi State now. And then the two that I love here, Bo Pribula, the Penn State backup, who's the guy at Missouri now. And then 16th, bottom of the list, Zach Calzada. He's back, man.
Where's he at?
He's at Kentucky now.
Oh my God. He's blocking, Josh Braun's blocking for him. Yeah. Jackson Arnold is the one that really stuck out to me. I'm pretty low on Jackson Arnold. Like, I feel like I was like, when he was at Oklahoma, I never really saw the vision. I think that he's really living off of that recruiting ranking from 3 years ago. But like a really talented former 5-star in a Hugh Freeze offense, I have a hard time believing he's not going to be a top 10 quarterback in the league. So who knows?
How you guys know that when SEC football media days comes around, that Arch Manning is going to be a first team or second team all SEC player, right? Like, you guys know that's happening. They're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm kind of just going to be frustrated about. Like that, I love SEC football media days, but man, sometimes those types of stuff is just really annoying and terrible, but it's the way it's going to be. And because speaking of football, I actually went on the Chuck Oliver show in Atlanta, and they were asking me about football, which is so funny because I'm like, that is so far out of my mind right now. But they were saying like, hey, did Sam Pittman, like, was there ever, I think they worded it, was there ever a more impactful 60 minutes of football for anybody last year than the game for Sam Pittman against Tennessee in that 60 minutes? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Because if they would have lost that game, they wouldn't have beaten a decent team all year long. And maybe they would have fired him, maybe not. But I don't know. It's just funny how, looking back on that season and looking into it this year, it's like, sheesh, how much has changed and how much a difference it's going to be next year with a whole new roster, essentially. So, man. But I think Taylor Green will be good. I think that's the point. It's like, I think he'll be no worse than like 9th in the SEC next year. I think at worst.
I think he's got a pretty clear like floor and ceiling. You know what I mean? It's like, I think anywhere in that like 7 to 11 range is like, I think that's kind of where he's at. Yep.
But also just can't wait for spring football to start up, and then everybody's gonna be like, ooh, how's the new freshman from California looking? You know, it's Nico's brother. Is he going to take over? And that's going to take his couple passes here and there, and it's going to be all she wrote.
Yeah, that's my only question. Will Madden Iamaleava be ranked above Nico Iamaleava by the end of the year?
Yeah, we'll have to make that a poll question in the summertime. So, all right. Okay, a few other chats too. I guess LJ says, not sure if y'all looked up Texas's net rankings. They're firmly in the tournament now.
All due respect, my man, LJ, don't speak on what I do not know. Bracket Matrix, it's a compilation of every reputable bracketologist out there, and Texas averages out as a 10 seed. So they're in Arkansas, lost today away from starting to pop up on those last 4 ends and everything. So yeah, they're in there right now, but they're not safe. You know what I'm saying? I think what I said, like, they're not a lock. They can't afford to fool around. You take a quad 2 loss to Arkansas, that's going to be a little ding on you, and all of a sudden you will be on the bubble.
Yeah, I think that's what we said about them. I mean, hell, yesterday we did a whole thing about their net and talked about how they're top 25, and I think they're 25th in net, or at least they were yesterday. They're on the positive side of the bubble. Like, they're in the tournament right now, but I agree wholeheartedly, Laura. It's like, yeah, you beat, and if they beat Arkansas, that would, not that Arkansas moves the needle, but that would probably make them feel a lot better about where they stand NCAA tournament-wise. But if you lose to Arkansas tonight at home, and then you got to go to Bud Walton later, it's like, you start thinking about it, they wouldn't be super safe.
Also, a few other chats here. Squeeze says, have y'all talked about the Greg Brick situation? Because that was crazy sad to watch that interview. Yes, we did. It's on yesterday's show if you want to check that out. So we gave our reactions to that. But yes, a very terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah.
And Kingsley also said, a question, what are y'all bringing to the Super Bowl potluck? Do y'all do the going to someone's house for Super Bowl stuff usually?
We used to always go to like someone at our church's house would always host, because my church that I went to had like 46 people. And so we would always go to one person's house. But I don't know what I'm doing this year.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. If it was ever anything, it's like always like cheese dip. It's like that. This would be like the one thing I would bring. But because then you got Kingsley over here talking about, he's like, oh, I'm making brisket chili, smoking the brisket, slicing the point. And
I knew He wasn't just asking that question willy-nilly. He had something in the chamber. I knew that.
I'm home alone. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to do something like that where I just make something and just have it, or if I just wind up going to a bar and letting somebody make something for me. I don't know.
Bring some food over to my place.
Yeah, seriously.
Go ahead and cook us up a meal.
Don't throw out an invite that you haven't had cleared with the boss yet. You know what I'm saying?
No, the boss, weirdly enough, is way more, and the boss being Hillary. She's way more excited for the Super Bowl than I am, because she loves Saquon Barkley. That was her fantasy running back. And she hates the Chiefs. Like, hates the Chiefs way more than any of us do. And so she's going to be pretty wound up on Sunday.
I didn't know what Saturday looked like, you know. And we got a late basketball game, but it's a pretty important card, and that I'm sure Hillary's going to be passionate about the main event. So,
yeah, although, man, it really shameful UFC card this weekend,
terrible,
honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Should be rough. I don't know, but
John, just know Sean Strickland's going to get the belt that he deserves right back.
Is he the guy that sings?
I'll say it right now. Yes, John, he is the guy that says all the bad stuff. We will 1,000% be talking about something Sean Strickland said in a press conference or something by the end of the week of this show.
Yes. I thought that I always get him mixed up with the guy that sings all the time. So
no, not him.
I wouldn't think it. I'd say it'd probably be offensive to even say I get those two
comparison.
Yeah, to say yeah, exactly. Also, I wanted to bring this up on the show real quick, because I texted you guys about this last night. For those of you who ever watched the pizza reviews from Dave Portnoy, like, one of his most famous ones was the one where he is eating, and a manager or whatever comes out on the porch. He was like, "Hey, you have permission to film here?" And he's like, no, whatever. He's like, "All right, well, you got to get out of there. You got to move over here." And then Dave ate it, said it's 0.0, said it was crap, all that stuff. Pretty controversial, pretty funny. Little did we know that the Goodfellas Pizza there in Lexington we ate at is the exact location where that happened. I had no idea that was the case. So
crazy.
Well, they shut down. So I'm pretty sure after that whole Dave Portnoy thing happened where the guy kicked him out, not only did that guy get fired, I'm pretty sure they shut down that location. And it caused a stir in Lexington because a lot of people went and they were like, holy, like, I love this pizza place. Like, what the heck? And so, like, there was a point where Dave Portnoy was like public enemy number one. They reopened it with new ownership, new everything. And then they invited Dave back. And he came back and gave him I don't remember what score he gave him, but he gave him a good score and kind of laughed about it. That guy, all-time heat check by that random shift manager who was like, you don't have permission to be on my patio? He did this motion to him. I'm going to need you to go out here. It's like, good Lord.
Yeah. And
that
was wild.
A lot of people told us when they would recommend Goodfellas, like the pizza's okay and the vibes are awesome. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. It was just fine pizza. Right. Next time we go, I'm going by the slice.
Yeah.
Well, and also too, like I think Portnoy even said that in that review of that place when he got mad. He's like, "That place is awesome in there, but the pizza sucks." Like, it was kind of the same. Like, it was awesome in there. It was a really cool setup, but and also before you get out here, I know a few people have to say, Finchie's like, if we beat Texas and Bama, what would the tournament vibe be? You are in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
you'd be inside of it. No, I mean, Arkansas literally would be in that like 9-10 seed range. Like, life comes at you fast.
You'd have to do some dumb stuff at that point to like, you'd have to turn around and lose to LSU at home a couple days later to really bring yourself down there. Like, that would get them all the way back in.
I mean, hell, you win these games,
you'd have 5 or whatever quad 1 wins and some serious ones on the resume. I mean, it starts looking pretty good.
Well, I mean, literally just look at, like, every year there's teams who their metrics don't quite match their record, and then some that are kind of equal. And Arkansas has been on kind of both sides of that because there's some years where their non-conference schedule doesn't pan out to be as good. But, like, look at where Arkansas's metrics and all that are at, and that's with a 2-6 SEC record. Hell, even before they beat Kentucky, like, they were still in a pretty decent spot considering how bad their record was. And so it's like you start adding a decent record on top of it. If Arkansas were 5-6 in SEC play, which would be winning their next 3 games, winning these next 2, obviously, and then beating LSU, like, they'd probably be top, 35, top 35, 37 in the net. Like, they would be in a very good spot.
In fact, I would even, if Arkansas wins tonight, the title of the show is going to be tomorrow that Arkansas is back in the NCAA tournament. Straight up, plain and simple. So we're going to talk about. Also, Finch says Texas fans eat bananas the long way while looking their buddies in the eyes.
Wow.
I feel like there haven't been enough shots taken at Texas today on game day. So
That's
I'm
a good
telling
one.
you, dude. Like it's crazy that we're at a point where we're like, is Arkansas ready to play Texas? Are they motivated?
We'll find out tonight again. So it'll be a good game tonight. Arkansas, Texas, ESPN2, 8:00. Before we get out of here, fellas, any final thoughts?
nope. See y'all tonight. Pot at the Palace post game show. Can't wait.
I do have final thoughts. I really apologize for keeping you guys here, but I have to bring up that Arkansas was picked third in the SEC coaches poll for baseball. They got 3 first place votes. Everyone all year, like the national guys have been saying, the tier 1 of the SEC baseball is A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, and LSU. And if you look at this, those are the top 4 teams by the coaches, and they're all separated by like Arkansas and Tennessee are separated by 1 point. When they do the thing like 215, 214, they add up all the votes. Arkansas actually got more first place votes than Tennessee, although Tennessee, of course, defending national champions, they're going to get some buzz there. LSU's one to look out for. By the way, Texas, and if any of your fans are watching, they're picked 8th in the SEC. They are going to finish above that. I'm going to just tell you right now, I think Texas is a very, very real Omaha team, and maybe even kind of a threat to make a real run. Kentucky, BBN, picked 10th in the SEC coaches poll. Ole Miss picked 15th ahead of Missouri and only Missouri. Ole Miss picked 15th in the SEC. Ain't that something?
They got to like Bianco go, man. They got to move on. Like it's been bad. So got to move on. Also, JP decided to throw a super chat at us last minute. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
He says another white one tonight. I'll be here for the late night victory strut fest with the fellas. LOL. Good.
I like it.
Strut.
Yeah, good. It'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, be sure to tune in. What's up?
He's peacocking.
Yeah. It'll be a good one tonight. So folks, hey, appreciate all of you listening and watching in Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube at Inside Arkansas. You can also check out all of our podcasts in podcast form, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast, wherever podcasts are found. You can follow us on social media at Inside Arkansas, as well as check out our website, InsideArkansas.com, for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. So for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great one, everybody, and we'll see you tonight for Pod at the Palace post-game show right here on Inside Arkansas.